thank you so much for joining this panel discussion. I'm really thankful to the Hartford Foundation, World Youth Movement for Democracy, and all the panelists to make this online event successful. I would actually first like to introduce myself. My name is Sabah Ismail, and I'm the Executive Director of Aware Girls, a non-governmental young women-led organization working in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province of Pakistan. We are working to empower young women through training and advocacy, and we are working to empower young women, and we are working to build their leadership capacities so that they can act as agents of change in their communities and work towards women empowerment. Currently, I'm a 2013 Hartford Youth Fellow, and I am conducting research and generating a series of online discussions on the role of young women in emerging democracies, and including an exploration of ways in which young women might combat religious extremism and engender youth access to decision making. Well, our today's topic for discussion is Women and Social Media, a pathway to freedom of expression and transforming culture. Participation in the political processes involves much more than voting. In patriarchal societies, it is difficult for women to achieve leadership positions and feel powerful in their community. Women's voices are limited in many parts of the world, but social media is an outlet and valuable resource that women can use to organize and take actions. It is becoming a powerful arena for raising awareness about politics and a platform where women can express. Social media is shifting people's consciousness and transforming culture. Using social media, women and girls are speaking out, telling out their stories, and influencing change in many parts of the world. According to Universal Declaration on Democracy, the state of democracy presupposes freedom of opinion and expression. This right implies freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. And today we have panelists from Serbia, Ghana, and Mexico, and Lebanon. Today the panelists will speak about how the media can act as a platform for women in suppressed societies and how it is playing a crucial role in transforming cultural norms and values. We will also discuss that is social media really a way for women to exercise their freedom of expression or putting them more at risk. So today in this panel, each of the panelists will speak for about 5 to 7 minutes, and then the floor will be open for question and answers. And our audience can actually tweet about this, and they can post comments and questions on using the hashtag of @WYMD. And they can also actually, this panel discussion is on air on YouTube, so if someone do not use the Twitter, they can post comments and questions on the YouTube, and we can actually we can answer to their questions. Well, the hashtag used for this is, well, I'll repeat it, it's WYMD Live, LIVE. So the audience can use this hashtag to comment. So now I would actually like this opportunity to introduce our first panelist from Mexico. Her name is Cecilia Garcia. She is a young advocate who has been working to promote and defend the rights of young people since 2006. As a co-founder and gender program director of Espolia, a Mexican youth-led organization, Cecilia has participated in different initiatives to promote young people's sexual and reproductive rights, foster young women's empowerment, and prevent gender-based violence through peer education and policy recommendations. She also conducts research on the situation of young people in Mexico and Latin America to identify the challenges they face when exercising their rights and assists in the development of materials and resources that address the aforementioned topics from a youth, gender, and human rights perspective. I would like to now give the floor to Cecilia.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Saba, and welcome everybody to this online discussion. Since I'm the first speaker, I'm going to try to focus my presentation on providing a general overview of the benefits of facilitating and, more importantly, warranting access to social media for women, while also highlighting what are some of the challenges we face to make this an effective tool for women's empowerment, freedom of expression, and exercise of rights. So according to a study on women and the web conducted by Intel Corporation and Delaware Global Development Advisors, internet access has helped women to further their education and increase their job opportunities, which can be understood as tangible benefits of accessing internet. And in a similar vein, internet also increases access to information to address specific needs and approach resources otherwise out of reach, such as government services, for example. It also enhances connectivity to national and global news, helps gaining self-esteem, expression, participation, and empowerment, and provides access to role models from outside communities and information about gender-specific issues. And here I want to say that I'm talking about internet in general because it is like the first step to access social media. So it is important to understand what are the benefits for women to be in this space. Now, let's take a closer look to the Mexican case. According to data provided by the Mexican Association of Internet, in 2011, women represented 49% of Internet users and spent 37% more time than men online. This is quite interesting because here in Mexico, we could say that we do not have like a gender gap, but there are other challenges that we still need to consider. Okay. And regarding the main reasons for surfing the web for Mexican women, the study also noted that women primarily do it to seek information on health and religious issues and to participate in support groups and online communities. They also explore the internet as a means of expression. In addition, 62% of those who were online used the internet as a primary means of information to know products they were considering purchasing, and more than half used it to stay in touch with family and friends. So this data certainly provides us a good overview of the role that the internet and social media play in the lives of Mexican women, and gives us a general idea of the preferred type of social media depending on these individual needs. However, I would also like to give you examples on how social media has helped to foster social mobilization and awareness raising around problems affecting women in my country. And this has been like shown by different feminist movements not only in Mexico but across Latin America. So hopefully this will gives us a good starting point for this discussion. So the first example relates to advocates and organizations that work around sexual and reproductive health and rights, who have managed to build up a regional community that works both virtually and face-to-face. In Mexico, social media and especially social networks have helped to track and denounce human rights violations in this regard, convene meetings and marches, support campaigns, and also to produce and disseminate information to call society and government's attention in this matter. Regarding political participation, and if you want, during the question and answer section, we can discuss a little bit further. If we think about political and civil rights as or the fight for political and civil rights as a quest for vindicating women's role in the public life, social media becomes a fundamental platform to boost women's leadership in the political arena. And I would also like to say that freedom of expression has been achieved or has found a gateway through social media in Mexico since the creation of the first online feminist radio in my country. This is quite recent, and even though some people might say that online radio might not be considered as part of social media, we have to keep in mind that whatever we can access on the web is not like isolated. We usually also have access in these online stations to blogs, social networks. So we need to think about it as a whole. Well, and even though I've presented specific examples of how social media can benefit women, we still have to keep in mind that there are certain challenges because changes outside the web does not happen as quickly as in the virtual spaces, and since we have no control of over who can or can access certain information and for what purposes, there are certain risks for women. Because we cannot overlook the fact that sexual harassment, bullying, life threats, and bad publicity, among other problems, have been extrapolated from the real to the virtual world. And other challenges also relate to transforming the position that women have within their communities and also within the web. And what I mean with this is that once we have warranted that women have access to the web and to social media and know how to use it effectively, they cannot become bystanders, but active content producers and entrepreneurs. Only then we will be able to say that there has been a shift in the gender dynamics that occur within the virtual space. So, in conclusion, and to let Anita present, I would say that social media and access to a wide variety of information and communication technologies definitely represent an important pathway for women to express themselves and foster cultural transformations to eradicate gender inequalities and fight gender-based violence. Yet several challenges remain. Bridging gaps is the first step. But while we work towards achieving this goal, it is also important to work and make social media and the internet in general safe tools for women to exercise their rights in an increasingly globalized and changing world. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. It was so empowering. It is so informative as well. And how did you actually give some information and statistics about, the benefits of internet and how the women are using as a means of expression, and actually it is a means of empowerment, that how women have access to this social media and how they are actually fostering this social mobilization. And the most important thing that I liked in your presentation from the Mexican background is that the social media is actually used to track women's rights violation. But I think it is like, you can say it is like a mapping. It is acting like to map the different places or the different situations where women's rights has been violated. So it's so empowering, and it's especially about the radio. Yes, it's very important that it's a part of social media. And thank you so much, Cecilia, for this such a nice presentation.
Thank
well
you.
I would now like this opportunity to invite Anita Mitic. She lives in Belgrade, Serbia, and study Faculty of Political Science. For 4 years now, she is involved in the work of Youth Initiative for Human Rights. She is the member of Political Council of Social Democratic Youth in Social Democratic Union. Met Anita. She is such an inspiring young person. And I now give the floor to Anita. Yes, Anita, you're ready.
Because can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I have to thank you for this opportunity to talk, and I think everyone who is listening. Since I'm coming from Serbia, there is opinion that in Serbia we have democracy. I like to say we have it so-called democracy, but we lived under dictatorship for 10 years in the past, and I know since I'm really interested in this subject, I know how hard it was for the young people back then to be creative without social media, because the only way they could actually communicate with the citizens and that actually could invite them to come and join in their idea were streets. So without social media, actually people had really a hard time to communicate and had really hard time to share their ideas. And since I'm a young woman involved in politics, I know how in Serbia frustrating and hard can be to deal with politics, because Serbia, since democratic change has democratic society, but the rights of the women are not really well respected. But I'm using social media every day, and I'm feeling like it's giving me a space to talk, and it's giving a space to share the information and share my ideas, and I'm really grateful for technology on that. I can't talk about social media and women without seeing this global picture, actually, because I think the biggest actually power of social media we could see a couple of years ago during the Arab Spring. We have this amazing thing that happened in Tunisia and Egypt and Yemen, is that actually women were actually the inspirers of the revolution, and they were fighting arm to arm for their democracy and for their rights. But the problem with the democratic revolution is actually that when you got democracy, sometimes, and usually that is the case, that women do not get their rights, even they fought for democracy. And we have, I think that is the best example how actually in Yemen, that actually the woman that was the journalist, Tawakkul Karman, she got a Nobel Prize for Peace, and she was a journalist who actually were using social media, blogs, Facebook, Twitter, and radio and television to inspire the revolution in Yemen. So I think she's shown us actually how, if you have really good idea in the society like that actually you can help your society, and you can spread your ideas. I think that internet now is giving us possibility to share thoughts with everyone around the world, and women. What is most important, I think, women have this opportunity to talk to each other and to see that they're not alone in this world and in their fight for their rights. We have these amazing examples in Saudi Arabia for women to drive. It's an online campaign for allowing women to drive. And I think it's very important that in social media, men and women are equal. So there is no change. There's no changing. There's changing actually their perspectives and how you see actually the women. And when you especially have examples where women were writing blogs and very amazing text, and then they were shown that they were women writing that, and it was really a big surprise because they were really effective. And I see social media as an equalizer in that terms, in gender terms, because everyone in social media have the same opportunity, the opportunity to connect and to share, and it's a place for supporting each other. And I have just to say one other thing about this last question about the risk. And for me, it's really important, because I do believe that everyone who is dealing with some topics that are not really friendly for our governments, everybody are in risk. I'm sorry to say, but we have this girl in Pakistan, Malala, that was being shot at her because she wanted to give opportunity to young girls to go to school. But I think that she represents the courage, and I think we should all follow her steps in the terms that we have and should fight for the things that we are believing in. And in some point, I have to end with something that I read a couple of months ago, and it's a quote from the very great feminist Rosa Luxemburg, when she said, "If we don't move, you can't feel your chains." So I guess my conclusion would be that we should use every tool that we have, and for right now, internet is the most democratic tool that we have, and we should most definitely use it, because it's so easy and cheap, and it's really important, and our battle will be there if we use it well.
Well, thank you so much, Anita. I just love your presentation and some of the things that actually you highlighted, like social media is a democratic tool. And I think, yes, it is, because democracy required informed participation of the public. And when in the real ground, especially in Pakistan, half of the population, that is women, they do not participate and they do not have this accessibility to participate in the democratic processes of the country. But as you said that, yes, social media is I really liked when you say that social media is equalizer. Like it gives this opportunity and it gives this space to talk and share the ideas, and it gives this, and especially when you said that it actually connects and support people. So it's really important that how the people who are working to promote women's rights, it's really important for them to connect, to learn from each other experiences, and to actually give support to each other when there are any difficulties. So really, I'm really thankful to Anita for such a nice presentation. Now we have the third panelist from Ghana. Her name is Doris Ansenyo. She is involved in multiple social endeavors to propagate positive information about her country, Ghana. Her efforts are mostly placed in content development and youth empowerment programs such as Casa Horo organization, Photo Walk Ghana, and Bar Camp Ghana. She believes good content can aid people in making informed choices in their day-to-day activities for personal growth and community development. Although we cannot see Doris because of internet connectivity problem, but we will be hearing her. So Doris, the floor is now yours. Doris, can you hear us? Hello? It might be some problem with the Doris connectivity, so we'll try to fix that. And hello, Doris. Okay, maybe in the meanwhile, I will just ask from my panelist just a small question that I would like to ask from you. Any personal story that actually of empowerment that that how did you use social media as an empowering tool, and if you can share a small story, your personal stories related to that. Any one of you can go ahead.
Well, as Anita was talking, I was thinking that, of course, social media plays a fundamental role in the work I do every day, and I think it has evolved, throughout this years. We have to keep up with that. So I would say that personally, it has been quite empowering to be able to, as you were saying, Saba, connect immediately with people from around the world and share experiences and understand that the fights that we are currently fighting here in Mexico could be the same fights that people in Pakistan or Serbia or Ghana are fighting. Of course, they have differences, and actually, I think that for me, being considering myself as a privileged young woman in Mexico, I think Doris is ready. Sorry, I can finish. And I think that also it has enabled me to get closer to certain stories that other young women and women in general in my country have. Human rights violations that I was mentioning. Recently, a case of sexual violence that was perpetrated by police and was condoned by the state was taken to the Inter-American Commission of Human Rights. And being able to hear that stories, how are they fighting and how are they asking for the government to respond, is quite inspiring, and it's reinforces my commitment to continue doing what I do. on a daily basis.
Yes. Now we can check if Doris, if you're able to hear Doris or not, and then maybe if not, we will hear from Anita, and if yes, maybe then, we will hear from Doris. So Doris, can you hear us? If you can start actually your presentation. Yes, I think we are not able to hear Doris. Yes, and so Anita, in the meanwhile, you can respond to the question, and then we will get back to Doris after that.
I think her mic is off.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Okay. For me, I think when we started using Facebook and Twitter and so all other social media, the most important thing was actually that you were able to stay in touch with people that you met in some conference or something. And other most important thing is actually that we were able to, you are able to see what is going on in the world all the time. Because you have a lot of friends or on Twitter or people you're following, you can actually have informations, and having information is what is extremely important in this in today and in modern world. And since I'm writing blogs too, and I find them really great because it's I can give my opinion and my opinions and what I'm thinking and on some other topic on some topics, and that brought me actually to write for some newspapers. So my ideas were spread, and I think those are the things that we should use the most. And as I said, it's really easy and it's really important. And for right now in Serbia, well, I think that we have a couple of campaigns for women's rights, but women's rights are basically now based on family violence and safe houses for the women and things like this. But we have a couple of online campaigns that they're in progress right now. So I find it really great.
Good. Maybe we can now again go to Doris. If Doris is able to hear us and she can actually, share her thoughts with us from Ghana. So, hello, Doris. Hello. Doris, if you're able to hear us, and I think she just got disconnected. Maybe because of the internet connection problems, is in different, So I have another questions for our panelists. That as you know that there is so much of social media, and as we were discussing through this discussion, like Facebook, Twitter, and blogs, and there is so many types. So what you see, what's been the most useful, or what do you use most for women's rights in your countries?
Well, actually, I would start by saying that it kind of depends on what are your needs and what are you trying to communicate. And in our experience, no, she's.
Yeah.
I think Doris is.
Yes.
Okay, so you want me to answer, or we can wait for Doris to present now? She's.
Yes, maybe we can listen from Doris if you are able to, because we were trying so hard for the past 30 minutes to get online her. So if Doris, if you are able to hear us, you can start your presentation.
Okay. Hi, Sarah.
Yes. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so sorry about the whole connection.
It's fine. We can understand.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I wanted to touch on the subject of the second topic, which is the social media play a role in transforming cultural norms and values. If yes, how so? Yeah, in Ghana, actually, the first one, which is about suppressed societies and women, that social media give a voice and acts as a platform for women in suppressed societies. In Ghana, we are not really suppressed. Women actually have the right to speak their mind and say whatever they feel like, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. Yeah, back in the olden days, of course, women are supposed to stay home, take care of the kids, bear children, and then trade, and then handle their trade and other things. But in modern Ghana, women are empowered thanks to uh, ministers of state and the government and women with movement for making it possible for us to actually go out there and actually talk about our minds, things that are worrying us. So I wouldn't want to focus on number one, because we don't have that. But in actual fact, social media has come a long way to help us as Ghanaian women, both young and old. We use it to trade. We use it for e-commerce. We use it to channel our frustrations and problems to the public, and we get responses. We use it for self-promotion, personal branding. We use it for courses, leadership training, and women advocacy groups. Actually, we have this particular woman in Ghana who is in Hansen Kwao. She is one of the women who's used social media to actually propagate information about women issues and leadership, and women taking the bold step to do things in Ghana and in their communities. And then we also have some people who've used social media to sell their products and services. Some of them are AC Cleland of Afroshi.
I think I cannot understand whether it's connecting some. I think it's some internet connection problem. Can Cecilia and Anita, are you guys connected?
Yeah.
And can you hear me? Okay. Maybe it's the internet connection with Doris that actually she's not able to. She's hang up at this moment. So maybe we will continue. Yeah, she has just joined this hangout, so we will see that how. Yes, Doris.
Yeah, hi. I just got dropped again.
Yes, no problem. You can continue.
Okay. Am I back?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so like I was saying, we've used it for global exchange programs. We've used it even within Africa, in West Africa. Most people use Facebook and Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and all of those other social network and social media sites to promote themselves. So it's social media, in short, has really helped us in promoting ourselves, in getting our voice out there. So I'm just gonna end here, and then we can, because I've taken lots of our time already. So I'm so sorry.
Oh, no. We can understand. Well, thank you so much, Doris, for such a nice presentation. And I'm really happy to hear that in modern Ghana, women are empowered. And I wish that in the recent years, we will be able to say that in modern world, women are empowered. And I really, really wish, and that we will be saying like this. And as you said that, yes, women actually use the social media to sell their products and services in Ghana. So I would like to share that even in Pakistan, yes, women and especially girls, because in Pakistan, actually, because of the religious extremism, women are not allowed to go out of their homes. They have very restricted mobility. And so even if they have any skills and they have they just make some products, So they take its pictures, post it on their Facebook pages, and sell it online. So it's really really empowering young women, not only in expressing their ideas, it's not only helping them and connecting in so many ways, but it actually women are getting economically empowered because of the use of the social media in this modern world. And it's really really a great point. So, Doris, as we are actually able to hear you now, so I asked a question from Anita and Cecilia previously, that to share a small, a personal story on how that you are using social media for empowering young women. So you might, if you want to add, or if you want to answer to this question, you're welcome.
Okay, okay. Yeah, and I stated that I work with some organizations in Ghana. I work for Kasahara Foundation, which is they create software applications and tools for African languages. They write books in African languages in Akan, Hausa, and Swahili and other African languages. And then I'm very active on Backcamp Ghana. And Backcamp Ghana is a youth advocacy group where we mentor them. We bring them mentor. We actually pair the youth with their mentors so they can be able to find people who will help them and train them to actually move forward and be self-sustainable after school. So one of the main things I've been doing in terms of empowering women is Backcamp, is my contribution towards Backcamp. And then there's another one I did not mention, which is Python African Tour. It's a developer-based program where we bring together developers. I don't develop, by the way, but I am just a techie who doesn't develop, but I test. So we bring together these developers who are trained, normally free. They are free programs. They are trained on maybe 3 days training on how to start Python. And in the end, before you know it, they are developing software applications on Android and on for iPhone. So those are some of the things I've done. And then most recently, I've been traveling around Ghana. Hopefully we'll go to other African countries, taking pictures of positive images of Ghana. So instead of taking pictures of somebody who is so old, poverty, and somebody who can feed his family, or dirty gutters, we actually take pictures of beautiful things to portray the good images of Ghana. So we encourage tourism and also to get people to travel a lot, to get Ghanaians to travel and see other places other than Accra. I don't know if you know this, but most people think Ghana is Accra. So they are limited to only Accra instead of going to other 10 regions. So that's what one of my programs is about.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, we are missing one of our panelists from Lebanon, but in the meanwhile, if we are able to get her, it will be our pleasure. But if not, well, we can. I posted a question from our panelists, and maybe we can start. You can. The question is: there is so much of social media. There is Facebook, Twitter, blog. So, what's been the most useful, or what do you use most for women's rights? So we can start first from Cecilia, then Anita, and then Doris.
Yeah, thank you, Saba. Well, I was saying before that it actually depends on what are your needs and what are you trying to communicate. And in our experience, social networks have proven to be an effective tool to communicate and to promote certain campaigns. I want to talk about this. Like special feature that Facebook and Twitter have. You know, they can, if you have used them, they can be connected, and when you tweet, it appears in Facebook, or when you write in Facebook, you post in Facebook, it appears in Twitter. It depends on your settings. But this has become a quite effective tool because it saves time in terms of of the messages you're sending. And for example, Facebook has helped us to, as I was saying, share campaigns or support campaigns, but also to share some materials and resources we have been producing. You know, infographics have become very popular. I don't know if worldwide, but at least in Latin America or the American continent, we have seen more and more infographics being produced by foundations, organizations, and even by ourselves that we are able to share through social networks. It also, well, YouTube, for instance, has also become an important tool for us. Whenever we are attending certain events or marches, we try to produce these small videos that we then share in our YouTube channel, and we also share them in Facebook and Twitter. So we're basically kind of like addressing it comprehensively and using all the social media we have or we can access. And well, finally, regarding blogs, for instance, we use them when we try to present a broader picture of a certain event, or we want to debate in depth around a certain topic. So, well, I will go back to my first answer. It basically depends on what are you trying to communicate, and also what type of audience are you trying to reach. So since we are a youth-led organization, social networks have worked for us because our target is young people, and young people are using social networks a lot here in Mexico. And Twitter has also become an effective tool in terms of reaching politicians, because even though they don't manage their own accounts, most of them have Twitter at least, and usually you can get an immediate response of a politician or a journalist, or like it makes communication a little bit more personal, and it kind of helps you to get immediate responses and to push certain topics in the public agenda. So yeah,
Wow.
that's what I would say.
Well, thank you so much. Maybe we can hear from Anita on this.
Of course. I will have to, what Cecilia said, it's making the communication more personal. I think it's actually social media are making politics more transparent. And I think that is really important, because more and more politicians are actually available on social media, and more it's easier now to communicate with them, and you know, one thing is spreading very fast and very easy. So well, I think that Facebook currently is the most effective way, and it's really useful. And I think that like a couple minutes before this discussion started, I just saw this picture on Facebook on Indian woman being raped, and for example, I think that it's really useful to find informations and actually to see what is going on and to raise awareness. So that is one of the things that the social media are really useful to. And but definitely Facebook, Twitter, and blogs are something that is most common to use in Serbia right now, and I use it myself frequently.
Well, thank you so much, Anita, for sharing your thoughts. Maybe Doris, you can go next. If we have Doris with us, maybe we can hear from her. Well, I think she just get disconnected. Yes. So, well, I have a question for the panelists. If there are risks in using social media, what should women do to stay safe or minimize risk?
Yeah. As I was saying during my presentation, having access to these sometimes out of control virtual space entails certain risks for women, because the traditional and harmful practices have been extrapolated to the web. And I was giving examples: sexual harassment, life threats, bullying, etc. So whenever we are using a new tool, it is important to understand what are the risks involved. And I think this is kind of the first step for women to minimize risks. Okay, and in this sense, training for using the internet and social media in an effective and safe way, it's also important in terms of the challenges we're facing, because everything is moving so fast and evolving so fast. And now we have Google Hangouts, but tomorrow we don't know what are we going to have. We kind of need to keep up to this revolution, technological revolution. And I think the first step is to understand what are the risks involved. And while we continue our work and while we promote human rights through social media, it is also important to communicate other people that are starting to get involved in this arena to be careful and to provide them certain tools to be safe when using social media, and understand what sites are safe, for example, what sites are not. And well, that's what I can say.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, I would like to share a few tips for women who actually use internet or social media. So one thing is, like, there is whenever we use the internet, there is an option like we write the web link as HTTP. So it's always for the women should use as HTTPS. So S actually stands for secure. So if and when the women will and the girls will use it as HTTPS, so it will be more difficult for hackers to hack the IDs or to hack the information. Another tip for women is that you always have to change the password after every 15 days, and whenever you change this password, it will be difficult for people to hack or to hack this information. And always keep the password as not the password, but as passphrases. Like, the password should be like a phrase, as a lengthy phrase, which will be difficult for people to hack the information. So these are just some small tips from my side. Now we would like to hear from Anita.
Thank you, Saba. Well, I agree with both of you. I think that you can actually Google how you can stay safe on the internet, like with your IP address, how you can't be tracked, to use hidden windows when you open something like this. But I think that mainly you just have to be aware of the risk. If you're doing something, just be aware what are you doing and what the risk you could, like, you have to sit with yourself and think about what are the risks. If I do this, what is the consequences of doing me that? So you have to be aware of those consequences, because you have to prepare yourself. Because if you prepare yourself, there is no surprises, and you have to be really. You should minimize your risk, and you should try to do, like, you can find some certain name that is different than yours, and you can use it and become popular with that, something like that. But in the terms that you should not be afraid. You should just find a way how to actually control the situation. And I think that is my point.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Maybe if we can take another question, and we can respond. Our panelist can respond to that. It is like, who is your primary audience when you use social media? The government, just general public, or women activists to mobilize and take action?
Well, I would say all of them. And
Okay.
again, it depends on the type of activity you're carrying out. So, for instance, firstly, young people are our main target in general in our daily work. But, for example, right now, my organization, along with other organizations, is conducting or carrying out a campaign to ask the government to name a representative of the National Youth Institute, because I don't know if you know, but we recently had federal elections, and all the representatives of all the other ministries and institutes have been like named, and we don't have a representative for the Youth Institute. So this is talking about the government's priorities regarding youth issues, and we are demanding like them to respond to these asks, to these demands. So in this example, the government is our main target. And regarding women activists and other social movements, what we use social media for is to connect with them and add to their efforts. So yes, they become our target in terms of, okay, if I need to ask someone to support my campaign or support my work, then I will connect with them, and not necessarily to sensitize them or train them, because we kind of like belong to the same movement, but to think about coordinated strategies to push certain topics or certain agendas. So again, it depends on what are you trying to do and what is your objective. So in my case, all of these examples you have mentioned or you have put on the table become our target, depending on what are we doing.
Yes, Anita.
Primary audience depends on what are we doing. Actually, I think that it depends who do we want to reach, and usually those are young people, because we do believe in sharing. They can actually. We want actually young people to share their ideas with us, and to share our ideas with them. So that's how we are using social media, and of course to inform young people of what are we doing. Actually, I think one of the best examples is that we are trying to show some good things that are happening. Like if you have some good cooperation in the region, because we had a war in the region of young people, then you're using this Facebook or things like that for some things that are beautiful, that are good examples, because media will never show good examples of anything. They will just go where the good stories, and good stories are usually bad news for us. And and we are trying to show that there are people who are able to connect, to talk with each other, and that there are organizations that are helping women, for example. There are organizations we have for example, victims of the war, mothers that are actually helping a lot of people. I think those things are really important, and so
Hello. I think there is maybe some connectivity problem from Anita's side. We were not able to hear the last comments. Yeah. Cecilia, Doris, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Doris, will you please
I also have
comment?
I also have connectivity problems, so I didn't hear any part of. I heard some part. I heard most of the part. I didn't hear anything. I went off for quite a while.
Okay,
This is bad.
Yes. Okay. My question was that who is your primary audience while you use social media? The government, general public, or women activists to mobilize and take action?
Okay, my social media, let's say I use Facebook a lot, I use Twitter a lot, and I use Google Plus, and I use LinkedIn. Okay, I use Facebook because I want to stay in touch with my friends. But now Facebook is no longer about friendship. It's now about businesses promoting themselves. So I embrace those, and then I actually gather information from what I see online. So it's not just about friendship for me, it's also about information. To me, data and content is key. So I'm out there looking for what's new in my country, what's new in other people's country. So I use those medium to get the news on what's happening in some Asian country, what's happening in Europe, what's happening in America. Yeah. And then on LinkedIn, it's purely business. So of course that's where you want to be employed, right? That's where you want to see what company A is doing versus company B and which one is the best. So LinkedIn is just purely for professional for business. And then Google Plus, of course, Hangouts. And I get to chat with my friends more for social. You want to say something?
No, you please continue. I was just moving my glasses.
Okay. On Twitter, so Google Plus is just like Facebook for me. Keep in touch with friends, seeing what is happening in the world, seeing what is going on in photography, in news, in politics, just like that, general news and information. And then Twitter is like it's about friends that share useful information, not just about, oh, I ate rice this morning, or I went on a stroll at the beach this morning. They're sharing things about, okay, do you know that in Ghana we actually have this place where you could go for you do know that in Ghana, you can actually go to a place where you can have all the information about all the hairdressing salons in Ghana, a place where there's a portal. They share information, actual proper information, not just personal stuff. So that's how I use all these various social media platforms.
Well,
but it gets really tiring when you have to juggle between all of this. So this four are the main ones that I focus on.
Well, thank you so much, Doris. As time is almost up, we have just last few minutes to continue. I would like if we can start from Cecilia and then to Anita and Doris. If you can add anything if you want to add anything, any last comments.
My mic was off. Sorry. Maybe I would say that as we continue to explore and to learn about the web and the social media and the tools we have to improve our communication and to reach other people around the world, it is also important to understand what are the limits of these tools and the risks involved, of course. So I would just encourage everybody here, if you don't know some of the tools or social media that has been mentioned throughout this Google Hangout, to go and explore and learn about them and find out if they actually work for what you are trying to do in your life, in your everyday. And yeah, that's what I would say. And thank you very much for being part of this Google Hangout.
Well, thanks. Thank you so much, Anita, for being here. Yes.
I hope that actually people will, and all women who are going hear this, that they will actually educate themselves more. They will learn more. They will find out what they have to be really do not know and to learn as they can. Like really small things in history made change in societies, huge change. And I believe that if you're working and if you're always questioning everything and you always and you believe that you can make an impact, usually only people who are making changes in the world are just the ones that believe in it. So that's my message.
Well, thanks a lot. Yes, Doris?
Yeah, okay. I want to say to Ghanaian women and young people out there that when they use Facebook and they use Twitter, because that's what they use the most in this country, they should focus more on having to be in touch with people, form lasting relationships where they can learn about other people's cultures and they share exchange cultures that will add value to their lives than having to be online and all they do is to use that just for communication between themselves, but there's more to social media than just communicating among friends. And also it should be used for educational benefits other than going out there and looking for somebody for a husband, going online dating, scamming, and all those things really don't help. Those are the negative aspects of social media. That's to point that some parents don't even encourage their children to be online just because of the stories they've heard about extortion and all the criminalities that come with it. But aside from that, women in Ghana are really using social media for their personal benefit and for society.
Well, thank you so much, Doris. It was a very nice group discussion, and I really learned so much from this discussion. Once again, I'm really thankful to the Hartford Foundation, to World Youth Women for Democracy, Anita from Serbia, Cecilia from Mexico, and Doris from Ghana for joining this online panel discussion. Well, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Well.